What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Christian, aka I Hate You Dior, and today I was doing some thinking and I was wondering about, some of my fighters that I like, and I like a lot of, different kinds of fighters. I feel like I always mention every now and again in my videos who's my favorite, some of my favorite fighters, and we all got that fighter that we like them, but they're kind of mid, right? Like we kind of like him and we're like, oh, I like this guy, and then we watch him and we hear people like, yo, this guy sucks, and you're just like, haha, yeah, ha 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 ha, but really, deep down you like him, right? So I want to talk to you guys today about my favorite UFC guilty pleasures. If you guys don't know what a guilty pleasure is, it's essentially you liking something or someone that is against the popular opinion. And in this case, we're gonna stretch that definition out a bit, because I'm gonna be talking about some fighters that I really like, but I don't think are that good, unfortunately. And I'm gonna go through every single weight class, starting off from flyweight and ending up at heavyweight. Starting off with the first fighter on my list, Manel Kape. Manel Starboy Kape at flyweight, guys. What can I say about Manel Kape, man? He's coming to the UFC. Came from Ryzen, was a Ryzen bantamweight champion. He actually fought Kaya Sakura, which was a guy that's actually fighting for the belt come next month, headlining against Pantoja. Came into the UFC and debuted against Pantoja, actually, and lost by split decision. Got a couple of wins to get back on track. Got a really cool flying knee over Odie Osborne. But he's very 50-50, man. It's like either you can trust him to get a good fight, he'll go out there, get a finish, or he'll have a competitive fight with a jobber and go the distance. Granted, it is flyweight, so most of these flyweights are going the distance anyways. But at least with Manel Kape, there's a chance he might get a finish. He might get a flying knee like he did against Odie Osborne, or he might get the right hand and land the right hand and get you out of there. So there's a lot of cool finishing potential from Manel Kape, but then you watch his fights and it's like, okay, well, you're having these split close fights against Felipe Santos in his debut, and then you're fighting Muhammad Makayev, and you're not really pushing the pace, and now you're fighting Bruno Silva. So he very up and down in his career. Unfortunately, I would have liked to see him go and fight for the belt, but with the way his career is looking, I don't think that's gonna happen. He was supposed to fight, I believe it was Mateus Nicolau. Yeah, he was supposed to fight Mateus Nicolau way back in like April, May, March, somewhere in that time frame. Pulled out, unfortunately, and then because of that, he ended up getting subbed and replaced by Alex Perez. And I believe there was another incident where he was supposed to fight somebody. I don't remember who. I think it might have been Mateus Nicolau, or I don't really remember. But he ended up missing weight and the fight got called off, actually. So, he's very 50-50. When he gets on the mic, entertaining guy. He did call Kai Kara France the F word. I'm not going to say it on YouTube, but just look up Manel Kape, Kai Kara France, and you'll know what I'm talking about.
No one going to do anything, you know why? All your teammates is a bunch of...
If you know, right? Don't bring him to Australia. He's going to probably curse out the crowd and, go to the gym and beat up some of their fighters. But aside from that, 50-50 fighter, gets a win here and there. When he gets a win, they look pretty cool, but a lot of times it's close split decisions. But I'm going to ride out with Manel Kape, man. He's one of my favorite flyweights. Good mic personality. Fun fights for the most part. But, man, I don't think he's fighting for the belt anytime soon, man. Now, we have bantamweight. And I had a couple of names I had to, I was thinking about to put up here. Henry Cejudo was one of them. Dominic Cruz, Jonathan Martinez. But I looked through it, and I think that there was a pick and a name there that kind of, spoke to me. And really, when I saw the name pop up when I was looking at the rankings, I was like, yeah, that's the guy. One of my favorite fighters, probably top 3, top 4. If you watch my videos, you have an idea of who I'm about to say, but it's Marlon Cheeto Vera. Man, oh man, Marlon Cheeto Vera. Fun fighting style. Most finishes at bantamweight. I believe he has the most performance bonuses at bantamweight too. Good wins. Close split decision with Pedro Munoz. Knocked out Frankie Edgar. Decision win against Rob Font. Had good fights against Corey Sandhagen, Jose Aldo, Song Yadong. Fought Sean O'Malley. He's basically fought literally, I believe, most of, if not almost everybody in the bantamweight top 10. And outside of the top 10 too. But damn, man. Has some old heads in there too. You know, Frankie Edgar, John Lineker, lost to him. Beat Davey Grant. So it's like very up and down in his career. Has a really ugly record. I believe he has like 20 wins, 10 losses. When he loses some of these fights, man, it's like, all right, Cheeto, you could have won if you just would have pushed the pace. If you guys ever seen a Cheeto fight, you know what I'm talking about. Slow starter, Chito Vera. Doesn't get going in the first round. Might get going in the second. Definitely gets going in the third. Fourth, fifth round if they have one. Might get cold, might get hot. Happened to him in the Corey Sandhagen fight. Happened to him in the Rob Font fight. But fourth, fifth round, he really locked in and won. The first few rounds, man, he was losing. Lost by decision to Song Yadong because he just couldn't get started. Lost to Sean O'Malley in his title shot because he just couldn't get started. And I will say this every time it's mentioned or I get the chance to mention it, but I did believe fully in my heart, mind, and soul that Cheeto Vera was going to beat Sean O'Malley that night. Boy, was I wrong. I was very incorrect, right? And then it's like, all right, well, Sean O'Malley, so, you know, Merab beat him. But before Merab, it was like, okay, who's going to beat this guy, right? Cheeto beat him way back when, but it was a fluke leg kick TKO, and, you know, it was an injury, and it's a lot of, you know, holes. It was a close fight the first time, but the second time, I'm like, okay. Cheeto might be able to, you know, start slow, find his rhythm, mix in the grappling, because he's a very good grappler, has very good takedowns, very good submissions, but just tried boxing with Sean. Did not work at all, right? Fifth round, dropped Sean, I don't think he dropped him, but he hurt him with that body shot. Got hot in the fifth round, but he was down 4-1. And this happened also in the Corey Sandhagen fight, where he was slow in the first few rounds and then got hot. Even in the Dominic Cruz fight where he won and got a finish, and it's one of my favorite Cheeto fights, Dominic Cruz, as an old man, was outpacing him in the first round for no other reason than that Cheeto's just a slow starter. It amazes me that this has been like a problem of his for as long as it has been. Like, it's been fucking years at this point. It feels like this has been an issue for Cheeto, right? This has been an issue since he fought fucking Song Yadong back in like quarantine, bro. So this isn't a new thing. This is a thing that's been happening to Cheeto. I know, because I watch Cheeto fights. I'm a big Cheeto Vera fan. I watch all of his fights, right? And then after the Sean O'Malley fight, it's like, all right, well, he'll be back. He'll fight he'll fight a Peter Yan. He'll fight a Davison Figueiredo. He'll fight a Song Yadong. And he'll be back. He'll fight Henry Cejudo. Maybe get a, late round knockout like he usually does. Then they match him up with Davison Figueiredo. And I'm like, okay, we're cooking, we're back. We're so back. Because he's going to beat Davison Figueiredo. And I'm a big Figueiredo fan. I like Figueiredo a lot. I like the little run he's going on at bantamweight. And it sucked that I had to see them both fight. Because in my head at the time, I was like, well, Cheeto, I want Cheeto to win. But Figgie's on a little run. I like Figgie. I want to see Figgie fight for the belt. But then it's like, they fight. And it's the same problem with Cheeto. And I'm just watching this fight. And then it kind of sunk in, and I was like, damn, my favorite fighter is mid. I was like, this is no bueno, right? I still love Cheeto. I'm going to watch his next fight, whether he's fighting Henry Cejudo or Kyler Phillips or Mario Bautista, right? So we might see him get back in the win column. We might see him lose a 50-45, 30-25, but With Cheeto, at least they're fun fights. That's the most you can't say about him. So going on to the featherweight division, right? Featherweight division had a lot of names too that I was kind of like looking at it and I was like, yeah, I could kind of put this guy up there. I could put this guy up there. But there was one name that really stuck out to me. And he was also like, Cheeto was one of the reasons I wanted to make this video. This guy is the other reason. Long tenured fighter at featherweight, right outside the rankings. I'm talking about Andre Fili, man. My boy Touchy Fili. Man, he could just never get going. And it sucks because I think he's a really cool guy, really fun fighter. Aura. It's the same thing with Cheeto, right? Cool guy, cool fighter. Aura. But goddamn, that guy is fucking chinny. He is chinny and he has a lot of holes in his defense that gets exploited all the time. And it sucks because it's like, okay, well, you know, Fili just knocked out this unranked, you know, jobber at featherweight. Maybe we can give him a fight in the top 15. Maybe we can give him a fight in the top 10. And then he fights somebody like a fucking Dan Ige and just has a big defensive hole. And next thing you know, Dan Ige puts him to fucking sleep, right? And things like this happen a lot with Andre Fili. Quite a lot, actually. And like this shit has been going on since like the early 2010s. Cause like, look back at it, started his UFC career, got a really good win, lost to Max Holloway. Got a couple of really good wins, lost to Yair Rodriguez and got knocked out. Had a couple of really good wins, lost to Calvin Kattar. Couple of really good wins, lost to Bryce Mitchell. Couple of really good wins, lost to Sadiq Yusuf. Couple of really good wins, lost to fucking the British guy, Nathaniel Wood. Lost to Nathaniel Wood. Couple of good wins, lost to Dan Ige. And now we're back in the cycle of he beat Cub Swanson. He might get another fight after this, beat another unranked guy, and then he'll fight Edson Barboza, and Edson Barboza's gonna knock him out. So it's like, you know, I would like to see him go on a run. I would like to see him, you know, become a top contender, but it's been a while, and I've been hoping for these things. So shout outs to Andre Fili, man, but it's not looking good for all my feelers, all my Andre feelers out there. So lightweight had a couple of names I was thinking of. You know, I could have put Bobby Green in there, but you know, we like Bobby Green. I could have put Gamrot in there, but you know, Gamrot's 50-50. He was a top-ranked contender at one point. Could have put Benoit Saint Denis in there, but I don't really like Benoit Saint Denis as a fighter personally. I looked through the rankings. There's one guy I thought of, right? Tall, skinny, and dark-skinned Jaylen the Tarantula Turner. Oh my goodness, Jaylen the Tarantula Turner. Now, he's not out here getting knocked out cold like some of the other names I mentioned. But this guy, man, it's... Same thing with Fili. Gets a good win, fights up in the rankings, loses a decision, fights back down, gets a win, fights back up, loses. Like, it happened recently with Moicano. Got a fight up against Moicano, was winning the fight, almost knocked out Moicano, and then just Moicano TKO'd him, right? Before that, short notice fight against Bobby Green, knocked out Bobby Green. That was a good performance, right? Before that, fought Dan Hooker, won the first round and a half, and then Dan Hooker just beat him by decision, right? Who did he fight before that? Was it Gamrot? I think he fought Gamrot. Same thing. Winning, good moments. Gamrot gets a 30-27, 29-26. So it's like, okay. And it sucks because, like, I like him. Cool guy, good fighter, huge for fucking lightweight. He, like, towers over everybody he fights. So, and he has, like, a crazy reach. So you think in your head, okay, this guy has the tools to beat some of these guys at lightweight. Good fighting style, goes for the finish. But my God, this guy is hard. Damn, man. And I like Jaylen Turner. All these fighters I'm talking about, these fighters, I like them a lot. Some of these guys are my favorite fighters. He's definitely one of my favorite lightweights, but it's like, damn, bro, like, I can't trust you to get these easy wins or to win these fights that you can win. Like, it was clear that he could have beat Moicano. He could have beat Dan Hooker. He could have beat Gamrot. But it's like, bro, like, why do you sell in such important moments too, man? So Jaylen Turner is going to be my lightweight pick. Welterweight, I'm going with my boy, the man, the myth, welterweight legend, man with the most wins at welterweight, the one and only Haitian sensation, my boy Neil Magny, right? My boy Neil Bagny got to this bag, right? Because he's fighting these fucking killers, and I know they're paying him good, so he's getting to his bag at least. So I can't knock the man there, but he loses a lot, man. He loses a lot of fights. Got knocked out recently by Cortez. Before that, like a month ago, got knocked out before Michael Morales. A couple months before that, fought Mike Malott, was losing, and then famously, as we all know, outdogged, outhearted, outlined that man Mike Malott, because Canadians only got heart like that. But my boy Neil Magny got that heart in him, that line in him. He's part Dominican, so it's like, you know, like, I gotta respect, game understand game, right? But then before that, he fights Ian Gary, and Ian Gary whoops his ass, right? Before that, he's fighting Phil Rowe. I think it was Phil Rowe. I don't know. I know he fought Phil Rowe and Gilbert Burns. I don't know which one came first, but I know he fought Phil Rowe, beat Phil Rowe by decision, and it's like, okay, well, Neil Magny's back. Had a win against Michael Chiesa and Max Griffin, if I'm not mistaken. He was getting some good wins, stringing them together, right? Lost to Shavkat, but then it comes together when he has to fight Gilbert Burns, right? And they're doing the promo, and he's locked. He's like, yeah, you know, this is my moment. It's time to show everyone why I'm a mainstay in the division. You're like, oh shit, Magny's locked, right? People forget, Magny was in the top 5 at one point. Like, he was number 5, but when you're in the club by the door, you're still in the club, even if you're by the door. So he was in the club, he was top 5, got knocked down, and now he's not ranked no more. But at the time, you know, he was that guy. And when he was fighting Burns, aura, he had that aura, and then Burns submitted him. So always the nail, never the hammer, unfortunately, with Neil Magny. Because even when he wins, these fights are like, ugh. Like, you're letting Mike Malott beat you up, and then you get a TKO, and you're winning close fights against Phil Rowe. So it's like, ugh. He did submit D-Rod, I'm pretty sure. I want to say he submitted D-Rod. So that's another, you know, shot. That's another Neil Magny win. Shavkat submitted him. Gary beat him. He's been the test at welterweight. Now he's probably no longer the test since he's out the rankings. They got the cheat codes, right? They got the answers for the test. There's no point in giving the test no more if the answers are there for everybody to see, right? But fought for my country, fought for, you know, the United States of America. Man's a veteran, so you got to give him some respect there. Welterweight mainstay, paid his dues, paid in full, man. So shoutouts to Neil Magny. Every time I go into a Neil Magny fight week, it's a mix of emotions, because I'm like, yeah, Neil Magny's fighting. I would like to see him win, but he's fighting Carlos Cortez, or he's fighting Michael Morales, and they're probably going to finish Neil Magny. But there's always a chance, and he showed that in the Mike Malott fight. So don't ever count Neil Magny out. Don't ever count him out, man. He had an aura going into that Cortez fight, and there was a moment where I was like, Magny's locked against Cortez, and then he got knocked out. So shoutouts to Magny. I think a lot of people give him a lot of shit. He's a really cool guy, nice guy. Shows a lot of love to the fans and supporters. Family man, regardless of what Ian Gary says about his kids. So yeah, shoutouts to Neil Magny, the Haitian sensation, right? Then I looked into a middleweight, right? A couple of names I thought of. But there was one guy that stood out to me like a sore thumb, right? Nasruddin Imavov. And, you know, so far in this list, I haven't picked anyone really in the top 5. Imavov, I believe, is either top 5 or he's number 4. But Imavov, up until recently, I don't think anyone really liked Imavov, right? I think that's fair to say, right? Lost to Strickland, beat Buckley, had, you know, a little bit back and forth in his career. Not the most entertaining fights, and when I watch him now, it's like, ooh, this could either be very entertaining and he can like fluke some sort of style win, or it's gonna be a very boring fight and we might go to decision, right? That was my mindset going into the Cannonier fight. Weird stoppage against Cannonier, but you know, he's not the ref, so that's not his job. Fought Brendan Allen, beat Brendan Allen, but it was a decision. Who did he beat before that? Delidze, you know, I'd put Delidze on this list, but I don't like Delidze. I think he's the most boring fighter on the roster. And there's a lot of boring fighters, but I think Delidze's the most boring fighter that you can find. And I don't like watching him fight. This list is my favorite guilty pleasures, right? I enjoy watching Imavov fights, even though I think, yeah, Imavov's fucking boring. But he's a good striker. People give him a lot of shit because he's a Frenchman. He's a Dagestani Frenchman, right? But Imavov's pretty cool, man. He's apparently fighting Adesanya February at the Saudi Arabia card. So it's like, okay, you might have something. You know, Izzy's a little over the hill. Might get the dub, but I'm not gonna be too excited going into that fight when you have Izzy who likes to point fight and leg kick at range, and a guy like Imavov who'll throw 100 strikes but won't finish the guy. So, but I can't hate too much on Imavov. There was definitely a lot of like worse picks I could have went with than Imavov. So he's definitely one of the better guilty pleasures for sure. So I'm not gonna shit on him too much, right? Now you get into light heavyweight, right? And there's a lot of names. But my personal pick is Dominic Reyes, bro. People love Reyes, but goddamn, Reyes is over the hill. But I just hope and I pray that he fucking beats Anthony Smith come next month. Oh my goodness, the happiness that would come to me if Reyes beat Smith, bro, because holy shit. Before the John Jones fight, Reyes was undefeated. He was gonna run, smoking some of these dudes. He beat Chris Weidman, Jared Cannonier. Good wins. Lost to John Jones on paper, but he really beat John Jones. Then got knocked out by Jan Blachowicz, but it's okay, you know, it's Jan Blachowicz, right? Got knocked out by Yuri. Okay, well, it's Yuri Prohaska, you know. And then after the Yuri fight, the guy gets knocked out by Ryan Spann. So it's like, okay, you're not. Okay, something's wrong here, because why are you getting knocked out by Ryan Spann? And before he fought Jacoby, I remember everybody saying Reyes is not locked, Jacoby's gonna win. And he fucking smoked Jacoby. So I hope he does the same thing. Against Anthony Smith. I could have put Anthony Smith on here, but I'll be lying if I said I look forward to an Anthony Smith fight, because that motherfucker is boring, bro. So I'm gonna go with Dominic Reyes for light heavyweight, and that just leaves us with one weight class left. And heavyweight had the most options, but the least options at the same time, because heavyweight doesn't have that much fighters, right? They're pretty shallow. I think there's like 30 fighters in the whole division, right? So it's a very shallow division, but there are some shitty fighters at flyweight, right? Now, originally, I wanted to go with Shamil Gaziev, right? But that's the easy pick. I looked through it, and with Stipe leaving and Romanov getting cut and Nascimento getting cut, there's been a lot of people jumping into those rankings. Like Shamil Gaziev's number 15 now, Nick Parkin's number 14, and at number 13, we have the guy I'm gonna talk about, Waldo Cortez Acosta, right? I don't give a fuck what anyone says about Waldo Cortez Acosta. That is my fucking guy, bro. Like, yeah, he's a little boring. Yeah, he doesn't really have the most finishing potential. Yeah, he did have a close fight with fucking Andre Arlovsky, 50-year-old old man. Yeah, he's not that good, but he's my guy. Beat Robables to Spain. Ranked, I could see him going on a run, man. And he's Dominican, right? If y'all don't know, I am Dominican, right? I'm a Dominican man, if y'all can't tell. A lot of people can't tell, but I'm Dominican, right? That's my ethnicity. That's my background. Waldo Cortez is also Dominican. He was a baseball player over there, and then when he came over here, he became a UFC fighter. He did MMA, right? There are no Dominican MMA fighters in the UFC. There are barely Dominican MMA fighters outside of the UFC. There's Waldo Cortez Acosta, and then the only other Dominican fighter I could think of is Jose Johnson, and Jose Johnson sucks, right? Which sucks to say, because he's Dominican, and I always pick Dominicans to win. But god damn it, does Jose Johnson fucking sucks. Waldo Cortez Acosta also sucks, but he's at heavyweight, and a lot of the heavyweights suck just a little bit more, right? Waldo Cortez Acosta, good wrestler, okay striker, power, but that's granted for him being a heavyweight. He got that Dominican flair, he got the Dominican spice. He got it, you know. You know. That's my guy. Next person he fights, it might be a pretty bad matchup. They might match him up against fucking Sergey Pavlovich, and Pavlovich might knock his lights out cold. But I never bet against the Dominican, so I'm always gonna pick Waldo Cortez Acosta. That's my guy. Even though he kind of sucks, I look forward to his fights all the time. It's like, you know what? He's one of my people. He's one of me. He's like me. And as a Dominican, Dominicans don't give a fuck about MMA, bro. Like nobody gives a fuck in DR about MMA. And Dominicans in America don't give a fuck about MMA either, right? So to see him be a ranked UFC fighter, right, which is the top echelon of MMA, when most Dominicans are baseball players, or in the case of Carl Anthony fucking Towns, basketball players. But this ain't a basketball channel, this ain't a baseball channel, it's a UFC channel, right? Waldo Cortez Acosta is my guy. I don't care who he fights. I don't care if it's a fucking, he could fight Prime Overeem in a fucking bare knuckle fight, and I'm gonna still pick Cortez Acosta, right? But let me know who you guys pick as your UFC guilty pleasures. Who are some of the fighters that you think are mid, but like to always watch and root for every time they fight, regardless of how mid they are, win, lose, or draw? Who are some of your guilty pleasures? I want to start a discussion about this. Let me know in the comments below. If you like the video, make sure to leave a like. And if you like videos like these, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications so you're notified every time I upload a new video. If you agree with me, leave a comment. If you disagree with me, leave a comment. And I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Peace.
I'm fucking Spanish. I'm in Marbella, bro, yeah? I'm in Marbella at the bare knuckle stall, and let's see what's what. We'll bounce in the yoke, have a bare knuckle. You little fool, I'll cave your head in.